Whenever we think of an airplane, we usually picture huge engines, big wings, or a cockpit full of high-tech gadgets. But very few people pay attention to the plane's wheels, which are super important. In fact, the most critical moment of any flight, the landing, puts the biggest stress on those tires. A passenger plane can touch down at speeds over 250 kilometers per hour, and it weighs hundreds of tons. All that massive force has to be handled in just a few seconds, and it's the tires that take the first hit on the runway. There's no room for error here. There's no space. Each tire is made to handle extreme weight, intense heat, and sudden changes in speed. These aren't just big tires. They're highly tested, secure, and constantly monitored crucial parts. When a flight hits its most critical moments, there's no room for these tires to fail. Once you understand how these tires work, you'll start seeing planes in a whole new light. And that's where a weird question pops up. Why don't these super important tires have any air inside? Is that really true?
Why are they filled up? And why is it done that way? That's what today's video will surprise you with. The crucial moments for an airplane's wheels start right at landing, when the plane touches the ground. In those few seconds, the wheels go through their toughest test. Before the plane lands, the wheels are completely still. But the moment they hit the ground, they suddenly start spinning at over 200 kilometers per hour. This sudden change causes intense friction on the wheels. That's why you see white smoke during landing. It's not just speed, there's also a huge amount of weight. A large passenger airplane can weigh between 300 to 400 tons when it lands. All that weight presses down on the landing gear. This pressure doesn't just come from underneath, but also from the front because the plane needs to slow down. The wheels and the entire structure are built to handle this huge impact without bending or losing stability. For every flight, this part faces the toughest test. But many people wonder, after all that weight and speed, why don't the airplane tires burst? The answer is, the secret lies in its construction. Airplane tires aren't like regular car tires. They're made completely differently. Inside, there are multiple layers of strong synthetic materials, like industrial nylon and aramid fibers, which are super tough. These layers come together to form a solid structure that won't tear or change shape even under immense pressure. So, it's not just thick rubber, it's a precise example of engineering. And here's another important point: the pressure inside the tire. A regular car tire, where a regular tire can handle about 30 to 35 psi. The tire inside a commercial airplane is pressurized to around 200 psi. That's roughly 6 times more than a typical car tire. Because of this extra pressure, airplane tires are built super tough so they don't change shape even under huge impacts and heavy weight. But that's not all. These tires have to go through all kinds of tough tests, like simulated high-speed landings and maximum weight endurance tests. Landing isn't just any ordinary thing. There's no room for even the smallest mistake. So everything is done with extra care.
Safety is ensured. Now, here's another important thing that many people don't know: what's actually inside the plane's tires. Many assume it's just regular air, like what we use in our bicycles or cars. But plane tires are totally different. They're actually filled with dry nitrogen. This isn't some fancy tech or marketing gimmick. It's all about safety. Normally, the air we breathe, which goes into bike or car tires, contains oxygen and moisture. Now, just imagine, after landing, when you brake, the tires get really hot. If there's oxygen and moisture inside the tire at that time, the risk goes way up. The pressure inside can suddenly spike and might even cause an explosion. But nitrogen gas is totally different. It's an inert gas, meaning it doesn't easily react chemically with anything. There's no moisture inside it, so there's no chance of rust or corrosion inside the tire. And the most important thing is, when the temperature rises, nitrogen does expand, but in a very controlled way. Because it contains no water, there's no steam, so changes in pressure can be predicted, where temperature and pressure change really fast. Being able to predict and control them is the biggest safety factor, and that's exactly why airplane tires are filled with nitrogen. It's a standard rule in aviation. So far, we've understood the basics of energy, pressure, and control. But now, if you take a good look at a big airplane, another big question pops up. Why does it need so many wheels? If you see a large plane up close, like a Boeing 747, you'll notice that it's got 18 wheels. The world's biggest cargo plane, the Antonov An-225, had 32 tires. And that's not over. The top, it's totally necessary. When a big plane lands, it has to come down, carrying 300 to 400 tons of weight. If all that huge weight rested on just a few wheels, the runway would take a massive hit. Plus, the risk of structural damage would shoot up, so this weight is spread out over many wheels to reduce the pressure on each tire and keep the runway safe. Another big advantage is that it helps with stability during landing and braking. There's a lot more to it. I mean, it's not just about holding the weight steady, but also about keeping balance at high speeds. That's why they use so many wheels. But here's another question. What if one tire suddenly bursts during landing? Actually, that kind of thing isn't very common. But planes are designed in such a way that even if one tire goes bad, the plane can still land safely. That's because the entire weight isn't carried by just one wheel. It's spread out over many wheels. So even if one tire fails, the others can handle the load. Also, the plane's tires don't just suddenly burst like car tires do. They're made tough, so that even if they get damaged, the pressure drops slowly. Plus, the whole landing gear stays intact until the plane comes to a complete stop. There have been many cases where the tire was damaged, but the plane was still fully under control and landed safely. Safety here depends on careful planning and backup systems, not luck. Also, these wheels help the plane brake during landing, especially on big passenger planes. These are special carbon brakes that can handle temperatures over 1,000 degrees Celsius. Stopping a few hundred tons at high speed means dealing with a huge amount of energy, but brakes alone don't stop a plane. After landing, spoilers on the wings pop up, which reduces lift and puts more weight on the wheels. This makes the brakes work even better. At the same time, the engine's thrust reversers kick in, pushing the plane forward against the engine's power to slow it down quickly. So basically, the whole system works as a team. Brakes, wings, and engines, all working together. All these things work together to safely stop such a huge plane within just a few kilometers. And lastly, there's the practical side of cost and maintenance. Because with such complex systems, you can't just replace a part whenever it breaks. Every single component is regularly checked, maintained, and kept ready with proper planning. So now you might be wondering, how much do these advanced tires actually cost? Many people might think they're super expensive, but the reality is a bit different. A tire for a large passenger plane usually costs just a few $1,000s. It depends on the model and the company, but maintaining tires is way more important than the cost. Plane tires aren't just thrown away after one use. They get retreaded several times. That means the core part stays intact, and new rubber is applied on the outside. This saves a lot of money, and there's no compromise on safety. Tires aren't changed only when they're completely worn out. Every tire is tested, repeatedly following strict rules. They keep track of how many landings it's done, how much wear it has, everything. Airlines. Each tire is closely monitored. So, the airplane's wheels, which most people don't really pay much attention to, are actually one of the most tested and controlled parts of the plane. They might seem small compared to the entire aircraft, but they play a direct role in every safe landing. Did you know that airplane tires are filled with nitrogen gas, not just regular air? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments box. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. See you next time, coming up in the next new episode. Thanks.